The Division, a game very near and dear to my heart. We've had a lot of good times over the years, on and off. This game is exceptionally unique, and it keeps me coming back. I try to move on, but there's just nothing like it. All the different types of builds you can do, the higher skill ceiling, dark zone, the incursions, the solo play, the team play, the survival, the atmosphere, everything. Let me tell you a story about the first time I played this game. The first time I played this game, I was probably like 18. I remember a guy at work would always talk about it, blah blah blah. But I went to a buddy's house, and he had just bought it for his PS4, I believe. And he let me play it, the intro or whatever, and then I got bored because I was young and I didn't understand it, and to me it was just another shooter. And he looks at me and he says, I paid $60 for Snow. And that has stuck with me all these years after I finally got into it, 3-4 years later when I was in the Air Force. And so Mark, if you're watching this, yeah, when you said that, I remember that. Because this game is actually really awesome and much more than Snow. Fast forward a year or two, my cousin had it on PC and he had been playing it for a while. I don't even think I had a PC at the time. I didn't get a PC till after I joined the military. So I went to his house and played it on PC, and I played it for like a few hours or whatever, because he was with his girlfriend. They were watching a movie, so he let me play his PC, and I was playing it, and it finally hit me like, this game is actually pretty good, blah blah blah. So I played it, but then I had to leave, and kind of stuck with me. And years later, I finally got it when I was in the Air Force, and I just played it. I played it for probably 200 hours, straight, in my free time. I wasn't sweaty, wasn't, trying to do crazy stuff. I was just always solo. I remember being in the dark zone and I was getting ganked and stuff. And at that time, I was young, I was in the military, I was lonely, I was depressed. So it's like I would just take on groups of guys, usually get my ass kicked, but eventually they'd want me to join them because I was so ferocious or whatever. And yeah, just a lot of good times going in the dark zone, even though I always played solo, and sometimes I get shit on by groups. They got their PvP builds, they got their freaking classified predators marks or whatever, and I just go in. I never sought PvP. I like to hide. I like to kind of slink around, and that's what I did. There was times when there was like people around me and they had no idea I was there because I'd be so sneaky. And that was another thing that really stuck with me about the Division, is if you want to go in the dark zone and be solo, you can totally do it. And it's funny because a lot of people's gripes about this game is the spongy enemies, and if you want to go in the dark zone for like high-end items, you can't do it. And I can prove that that's false, because I've gone in the dark zone and gotten a bunch of classifieds, a bunch of exotics. You have to be very situationally aware in a game like this, especially playing solo. And then with the spongy enemies, it's funny because you just know they're not speccing correctly, because you can melt enemies, but you're going to get melted yourself because you have to sacrifice your skill power and your health for more damage. And then if you want to wear gear that doesn't give you any defense or whatever, just go all in on damage, and yeah, you're going to melt things like, on any other FPS, but you're going to get melted too, just like any other FPS. So it's just kind of like, what game do you want to play? The game just had so much more depth to it than I could have ever imagined, and like I said, there's still builds I want to do, but I mean, after over 300 hours, there's just not really much I haven't seen. Yeah, I could get level 40 in the underground. Yeah, I could go rogue hunting. Yeah, I could do survival 20 more times, but it's like, I don't really want to do that. I've already done that stuff, a handful of times, and it's getting a bit old, so really it's time to say goodbye. It's like saying goodbye to an old friend that you love very much. And I just don't want to do it. But it's time to move on. It's time to leave the Division behind and move on to the Division 2. Hey, you weren't expecting that, were you? Yep, I actually had the division for a few days, the Division 2 for a few days, and I just can't get myself to play it because the Division 1 is just so awesome. And even if you look at my review, I said years ago that it's like I don't want to move on to the Division 2 because the Division 1 is just awesome in every way. And I said I wanted to 100% it, and I mean I almost have. You know, there's still things I can do, but it's just nothing new. So it's really time to move on and time to adapt to the Division 2. And I think if I can get at least 300 hours in the Division 2 as well, it'll be money well spent. It's only 20 bucks for the gold. I think that's how much I bought for the Division 1 back in the day. You know, with all the DLC, about 20 bucks. So really good. And if you look at the rest of my games, I mean the Division, $300 is a lot for me. For $300 for some guys is chump change. They got 3,000 and they're like, oh, this dude's a casual. And then you got the guys who are like, oh, I played 30 hours and they got the gist of it. So kind of in the middle, 300 hours. For me, that's a lot. And if you look at my other games, that's a lot. So I'll see you all in the Division 2.